County Council. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Learn my lesson.
Can I interrupt you 1 second? I just got an
Absolutely.
email that there's nothing being streamed on 23, so I'm going to step out real quick.
Gotcha.
What's going on? Or CMC staff is here. Can you tell me what's going on with the with channel 23? Oh, she told me it just came on. We're good. Sorry.
So we think we're good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, apologies for anyone that's just joining now remotely or on 23. We just did the Pledge of Allegiance, called the meeting to order. Obviously, we're back to Zoom, at least for right now. Hopefully, we're all back in person next month, but we made the call just to move to Zoom for all town meetings for January, just to limit the spread, and as we're subject to all of the same quarantine requirements. These kind of meetings we can do this way, although not quite as convenient. And it's always nice to see people, but there are key and very important duties you have to do with the town staff. So we want to limit our exposure to them so we're able to deliver our core services without interruption. So with that, obviously, we do not obviously to this group, we don't have minutes for November. We'll get those updated and then handle that in February. We do have a couple of housekeeping things on the agenda here. And for those of you who remember, and I guess, well, Chris, you may have been to some Zoom meetings too before we went back live. If you guys just want to raise hands instead of all yelling in, they don't have to mute and unmute every time. We did get the okay from legal that's okay and pretty standard across the board with what other people are doing. So first order of business, receipt of the October 2021 Treasurer's Report. Do we have a motion to receive the Treasurer's Report? Anybody can raise their hand.
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Councilman Richardson, we have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Cuneo is a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Carries unanimously. November 2021 Treasurer's Report. Same thing. Do we have a motion to receive the November Treasurer's Report?
Motion we received the November Treasurer's Report.
Councilman Miller, do we have a second?
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I'm scanning around the Brady Bunch box here, trying to figure out who it was. Councilman Pacelli, thank you. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Thank you. And then one more, the receipt of the December 2021 check register with Treasurer's Report to follow next month.
So moved.
Okay, Councilman Richardson, have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Howell, thank you. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? All right, moving on. Happy New Year to everybody. It's obviously the first meeting of the new year. We had one snow event. I'm sure that the town administrator will hit on this, but many of you may get kudos from folks in town too, and have experienced it personally. And I know it sounds like we're beating the same drum here, but that's because our folks continue to do an outstanding job. So great job with handling the snow event. And I know that it seemed like our roads were clear at 5 a.m, hours ahead of many state and county roads. So good job for all, or by all, with that. To that effect, please remember that all town streets are snow emergency routes. So some folks like to get their car out of their driveway and so they can get out easily, but please keep it just off of the street so that we're able to efficiently remove the snow and ice and treat the roads and let everybody get on about their day. So parking prohibited during any snow emergencies. Christmas tree pickup. Last one is tomorrow, Wednesday the 12th. I don't know if we got that on Facebook today, but if you still have your Christmas tree, please get that down to the curb by the morning. Town offices will be closed January 17th for Martin Luther King holiday. And then water bills, it is a water bill payment month. This is one of those 2 times a year where it is due on the 30th, not the last day of the month, which is the 31st. So please pay your water bills. Final thing on my mayor's list is the swearing in of Mr. Shane Thomas for Board of Zoning Appeals member. Thank you, Shane, for agreeing to do this. We've done a couple of these. I've done swearing-ins socially distanced outside, one-on-one with a witness, and then a couple while we had the opportunity to have some in-person meetings, and then a couple like this. So pretty standard. If you raise your right hand and then you state your name, and at the end say you do, and I'll try to get through this without tripping on myself, which I do about half the time. So I state your name. Raise your hand, please. And that'll work. Do affirm that I support the Constitution of the United States, and I will be faithful, will bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland, will support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Board of Zoning Appeals member according to the Constitution and laws of this state. If you don't mind unmuting and say you do. I think you unmuted and muted back again. All right. I think if you say it, we can read your lips. I think you're good. All right. We'll count it. I'm apologize for the technical difficulties. It's all good. So Kelly, just from a procedural standpoint, I'll sign the copy that I have here and get that to you. And then obviously you can probably sign that as a witness you were here. And then Shane, next time you're in, you can sign it. We'll have it for the records. And again, thanks for agreeing to volunteer in this capacity. So that's my report. I'll turn it over to the town administrator for town administrator report.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. First of all, Mayor Warner, your kind words for our public works crews will be passed on. Those folks do a fantastic job, and very impressed with what happens with our roads. So you have in front of you the December 2021 administrative report. Under pending items, ordinance number 248, that will be coming up under an agenda item. The email notification project is moving forward as quickly as we can. Correspondence to the county planning director in regards to the Manchester bypass. I supplied you all with a copy of my letter to them last month. The cybersecurity evaluation and assessment, the kicked off meeting is to be determined. We want to get all of our folks back and healthy before we have that kickoff meeting. I also supplied you with a draft copy of the joint use agreement with the North Carroll Rec Council. If you all could take a minute and look over that and then get back to me with your comments, I'd really like to get that moving before we get into the spring sports program. So I sent that out probably last month. If you need another copy, just let me know and I'll send it back out again. While we're talking about the Rec Council, the football program has requested to set up a meeting in regards to shifting the football field to allow for a home and visitor fan section on each side of the field. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we may have a meeting set up for next Wednesday or Thursday. I have to verify that. I know Mayor Warner and Councilperson Howe would like to be joining us for that, and anybody else that's interested. So we're going to be meeting with them next week. Under code enforcement and zoning, we will supply you with the monthly code enforcement update later on over the next week or so. 3168 Main Street. This is the laundromat, the status of that. We're working with the county permits office. I talked to them today, and the owner had until January 6th to get back to the county. He did not get back to the county, and now that process moves on to the county attorney's office. So that's where that stands right now. Lippy Old Town property, the traffic study scope, that is being completed. And I believe that was sent out earlier this week. Equine Meadows, we're still working through some stormwater management issues. And also between town staff and our town attorney, we're continuing to work on updating chapters 81 and 122 of the town code. Under miscellaneous items, I did apply for a cleanup, green up grant for additional recycling containers, as we did for the past several years. We've been very successful with that. I thought this was going to be off of my agenda forever, but apparently it came back. COVID-19 update. So the protocols for all employees are back in place. Town hall lobby is currently open for the public. We have delayed any in-person meetings for January, and as the mayor said, we will revisit this the beginning of February. Under that, you've been supplied with a personnel policy update, Chapter 4, attendance and leave. This is Section 10, administrative leave, as it reverts to executive administrative infectious disease leave. That's on our agenda. We'll talk a little bit about that once we get to that point. And we want to thank Carroll County Health Department. They supplied the town with 12 COVID rapid test kits. Hopefully there's more to follow. So that's it for my report. Any questions? Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, thanks, Steve. Rodney, Public Works report.
Thanks, and good evening, everybody. Please see the water and wastewater data report for December 2021. Also with Public Works, the AT&T T-Mobile antenna modifications at York Water Tower. T-Mobile's work is at 99% complete. They're going to finish up Thursday, I believe. And AT&T antenna modifications will be soon to follow. On our new, can everybody hear me okay? Good. Our new FY22, I'm sorry, our new Ford F-350s, the 2022s, we took delivery of those December 8th, 2021 by April Ford. Therefore, our 2009 and 2010 trucks were set out for bids on December 10th. All sealed bids are in, and this is an action item coming up shortly. For water, the Delwell interior piping rehab project, nothing new to report on this. Last I heard, the contractor's still waiting on materials. The Manchester water line replacement project, revised plans were reviewed by our staff and sent back, we sent our comments back to Carroll Land Services Incorporated December 30th. And now we're currently waiting on final plans on this. And we're still tentatively an early spring project on this. The Permalogger water leak detectors, nothing new on this. It was awarded in November. We're waiting on start up and kick off. It's delayed due to COVID-19. Wastewater, the wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade and optional expansion, the PER. We got the submission of the report November 18th, and we're still reviewing the PER, and MDE is as well. And this is, our engineer is CDM Smith on the PER. So at Manchester Farms, our water and wastewater stations that powered by standby generator. If we lose power, it powers both stations. We had a catastrophic failure that occurred on November 30th. Our staff determined a generator replacement is our best option. We received 3 proposals to replace it, and this was awarded to Urban Francis of Baltimore, Maryland for $50,540. Parks and maintenance, Monroe Street, Grafton Street, stormwater management, outfall rehab projects, nothing new to report on this. Our street and town facility asphalt rehab projects, we're at 100% completed on that. And that was CJ Miller, and our inspector was WBCM. The Town of Manchester Roads Line Restriping Project, this is also at 100% completed. This was awarded in November, and it was an outside contractor, Alpha Space Control Incorporated. Let's see, our NPDES annual dry weather outfall screening. This was performed by Carroll County Resource Management. We're still currently waiting on a report from them. And lastly, winter weather events. Now this is for December 27th, we had a minor snow event. It was a trace to 1 inch. Of course, January, we're still counting, sadly. Any questions thus far?
And this may be for Kelly as much as anybody. With that replacement generator, I know there's some discussion. Is that going to require a supplemental budget where we're able to use funds that we currently had to make that emergency purchase? And I might not be asking that the right way. You're on mute, though. You're always the one busting me for talking on mute.
You're muted, Kelly. There you go.
So we are looking into an insurance claim with that. We have a boiler insurance policy, so I'll know more when it comes to that.
Okay. Yes. All right. So we're good for now. I think operationally everybody's in agreement. We got to move forward. We can't leave ourselves hanging. We'll look at things from an insurance perspective and then figure out, financially where how we cover it and account for it. Okay. All right. That was my question.
One thing that I'd like to comment on the ENR upgrade, the PER report. Once the town and MDE and everyone has their comments in, of course, we're probably looking at March or April. I think it would be great that we get our engineering firm in here to give a presentation to the mayor and the council on where we're at. But we just have to iron out through all these different comments that are coming back to our engineering firm. And once we get those ironed out, then we'll bring them in and they can do a presentation. So that'll answer a lot of questions that you may have. So.
That sounds good. And Rodney, I thought you said you had an action item. Were you going to come back to that or do you want to handle that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if there's no questions, I'm going to move on to the action item.
Okay.
Yeah, so the action item, as I mentioned, we took delivery of our new trucks. Therefore, our 09 and 2010 were set out for bids, and they're all in. The 2009 pickup, we received 12 bids, and Steve's Lawn Care being the highest bidder at $15,010. And the 2010 pickup and plow, we received 11 bids on that one, and Steve's Lawn Care being highest on that one as well at $17,030. So with that being said, I'd like to request the mayor and town council's approval to award the sale of both trucks. They want them both for a lump sum of $32,040 to Steve's Lawn Care of Manchester, Maryland. And I do like to add that the sale of these two trucks came in better than what we anticipated, and we're $15,118 under budget for what we budgeted for those two new trucks.
Rodney, well done on this. I mean, I
Thank you.
I got a lot of calls. I think it was maybe you putting the trucks out or whoever wanted to put the trucks out in front of the town, but I got multiple calls of people interested in that. So it was
thank you. Yeah,
some of that cost. So
thank you.
That said, I mean, I'll make the motion that we accept 2 bids. Steve really wants those trucks, so Steve's Lawn Care gets them for $15,010 and $17,030. Good luck to Steve.
And I'll second.
I'm on mute. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, comments on those trucks before we move forward? All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? That carries unanimously. And anything else, Rodney, or any other questions for Public Works?
Good. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the police report. Chief?
So starting out first with the month of December, we handled 130 calls. We handled additional 24 calls outside of town. As you all know, we took a COVID hit. We had an extreme staff shortage. I got to thank the Sheriff's Office and Hampstead Police Department because they stepped up. They helped us out so we didn't miss a public safety obligation. But everybody's pretty much back to normal, back to work, and we're getting back into our routine. Traffic enforcement was a little slow. We had 89 citations in total issued. We investigated 2 Part 1 crimes. One involved a stolen auto. We apprehended that suspect, recovered the car that is back to the owner. The second theft involves a cell phone allegedly taken in front of Sheets. We were actually waiting for Sheets footage because the video camera should have caught that theft. It was a 6-hour time period. Driver left his car there while he went to work, and when he came back, the cell phone was gone. But the footage should tell the story. We should know something soon. Mayor, I hate to even deliver this. So we had a 75% increase in crime this year. Property crime. It's not a lot when you look at the numbers as a whole. We had 21 Part 1 property crimes, 0 violent crime, but it was in comparison to 11 last year, which gives about the 75% increase. As a whole, we're still way above our, when I first came here, those totals, because they were in the 50s. The property crime, a spree of juveniles killed our numbers, and we have a lot of anywhere from pharmaceutical thefts, a lot of rental housing issues, people get in a house, one takes the other's medication, things like that. We're not going to hide the crime. If it's a theft, it's a theft. We report it, we deal with it. And the clearance rate's still pretty high. But I will tell you the spree involving, I'm pretty sure, the 3 juveniles from the high school, we still haven't made a case on them yet. We just don't have that next step to take it to 2 should be charged as an adult, but we just don't have it yet. So that's where we are. It's property crime, it's minor thefts. The majority were isolated, but it is an increase. So that's where we are with that. So the Sheriff's Office is reporting a 8% decrease in overdoses. They are reporting a 30% increase in fatalities resulting from overdoses. Manchester, we had 7. We had 1 last year. We had 7 this year. Most of those victims, with the exception of 3, were driving through town. They stopped in front of the firehouse. 1 stopped in front of the funeral home. We have them pull off to the side, and they're overdoses. Hampstead had 15. Sykesville, which is a huge increase. I mean, I don't know what's going on. They may be experiencing the same things we do, because I've heard a few calls around at Jiffy Mart. Sykesville had 10. Tawnytown had 31. Mount Airy had 10. Westminster had 144. New Windsor had 2. And the Union Bridge area had 0. And these areas they identify as MSP areas, like around the Walmarts and all, that was 25. So that's where we are for year-end crime. I'm disappointed in the property crimes. It's nothing that we're doing wrong. It's just the climate kind of changes here and there, and that's what happened with the the property crimes combined with the spree of larceny from autos that we took on. I think that was in November or October. So that's about it for the crime report.
Right, yeah, and I think this is just me talking, right? But you or any of our members of the department or the town in general, right, can't beat ourselves up too bad about a percentage change when the numbers were so low to begin with. So just a couple incidents is really what we're dealing with can really skew those numbers. And like you said, if you look at this from a a numbers perspective, we're still doing the right things, and sometimes we prevent, sometimes we react. But the big thing, quality of life issue, the zero violent crime, is a really big accomplishment. Of course, if and when we have minor incidents that become head down that road, we'll react as necessary. But year over year, our numbers are just really good and really indicative of Manchester being a quality place to live. Everybody that's on this call, doing their part and doing a great job, and certainly you and your staff continuing to do a great job and keeping our community safe. So nothing. I have nothing bad to say about how the year and numbers show up. Like you said, we're not going to hide or sugarcoat it at all. We want to.
Right. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Keep going in the right direction. But I'd take living in Manchester and the safety we have here over any place else in this county, and probably this county over almost anywhere in the state. So
No doubt.
Keep up the good work as far as I'm concerned.
And we did catch the desperados that tackled the Santa Claus right down the street from your house. We caught them. They decided to go on a juvenile raid and take out Santa Claus and a couple other decorations. We caught them.
Yeah.
And real quick, I just want to say thank you to the Celebrate Learning Center. If they are watching, they gave us a slew of cards and poems and candy. And we appreciate your appreciation for law enforcement. So that was pretty nice. Steve got a lot of the bags. We gave him to Steve.
I want to second Ryan. I think this is an excellent report, regardless of the increase, Chief.
Thanks. Thanks, sir.
I skipped one thing before we move on to, let's say our action items here. In my mayor's report, I just want to, tell you guys, I don't remember the date here, but I spoke at the lunch of the North Carroll Business Association a few weeks back in Hampstead at Chef Jeff's, along with Heather DeWeese, who's the clerk of the court. All good things. Talked a little bit about Black Friday. You saw the Northern News. Of course, they made it sound like Hampstead had a great holiday, and we did not have one, which is just not true. I think our town looks pretty good, and kudos to the police department. Definitely to the police department helping win the night on Black Friday, and to the fire department for continuing their tradition with the train garden, which always gets pretty good reviews. One thing we'd like to work on for next year, though, is to work with that group and pick back up. Maybe it looks similar to what we did with Mama, and working together with different parts of the community for a Black Friday celebration, businesses, town, fire department, police department, all of us. And maybe it looks a little, the churches, and maybe it looks a little different. Maybe we are able to work with all those groups and come up with something that takes in a little different direction. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, but it seems that most folks that I talk to within those groups would like to see us, as we're moving past this pandemic period and getting back together, to getting something good going on Black Friday again. So more to come on that, and happy to have anyone's help that feels interested in taking a part in that. All right. Discussion of Ordinance 248, amending section of the code 220, vehicles and traffic. Most of you will remember, we've talked about this a couple of times now. There's been some minor changes. Timing went off, and we canceled that last month's meeting. So this should be, I think we've had enough time to discuss this. And in my mind, this is probably ready to vote on, and then we can get to the point where we can more swiftly make these kinds of changes without having to go through the whole code process. Steve, do you have something to add there? I saw you pop off mute for a second.
No, you're absolutely right. It feels like we've been working on this for 5 years, but yes, we can do this as a emergency ordinance, because if not, since we didn't have last month's meeting, we would have to reintroduce it again and let it lay for 30 days and then so on and so forth. So we had clearance through our legal that we can do this as an emergency ordinance tonight.
Anybody have a problem with that? That would allow us to get Water Street changed immediately and get a sign up there.
Yeah, once it passes this evening, if it passes, then it'll be signed and it's effective 20 days after the approval. So it'll speed the process up.
So with that, anybody have an issue with making this an emergency ordinance so we can put this behind us? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve ordinance 248 as an emergency ordinance tonight?
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
second by Councilman Cuneo. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Discussing the personnel policy. Steve, do you mind giving a little, I know we had one conversation about this earlier, but just give a little bit of background.
Sure, I'll go ahead and recap everyone. As you all well know, we had a COVID outbreak throughout our town staff, and we took a hard look at the folks that were affected. And some of the folks that were affected, my gosh, they were newer employees. They didn't have enough sick time. And it's like we're punishing people, for catching COVID. And we came up with this personnel policy change, which, by the way, is just a Band-Aid, because we have to meet together sometime to go over our personnel policy, because within the Maryland Healthy Working Families Act, we would have coverage through that. So for right now, it's just a Band-Aid till we can meet, work that out. But we were looking at this, and I gave you some pointers along the way. Some of the things that gives a better chance of employees being tested. Not that we don't have a problem. Our employees do very well. They feel sick, they don't come in, they go get tested. But it just eliminates that stigma of, I have COVID and now I'm being punished because I'm losing all my vacation or my sick time, or maybe time that I don't have, I don't have. So it eliminates that. So we came up with this executive administrative infectious disease leave policy, again, as a Band-Aid to assist with our employees. And that's pretty much, I sent that out in a memo. It's been cleared through our legal. It's been, developed by our upper management staff. And we all feel that it's very fair to our staff.
So if I could add a few words, and I agree, Steve, that this is a Band-Aid. And I know that we have some other areas of the personnel policy that we want to address as well. My feeling is that, one, I'm supportive of putting this Band-Aid on right now. Beyond this, it may make sense for us to get a little further along, and we have some more understanding about vaccine mandates and how things are going to be treated when the next thing comes down the pipe. So maybe we work with a consultant and we kind of give as a group, here's what we want to accomplish, rather than all of us getting together and throwing together all these ideas, then sending it to legal and having legal look at something and try to figure out if it's legal or not. Is that we work with somebody to say, here's what we're trying to accomplish. What are the best ways to do this? And then come back and have us kind of review that, as a bundle. Because things are going to change, right? I mean, just how leave's done. And as Steve's saying, all of a sudden, what we don't want is to encourage people to come to work sick. That was kind of like the old school. We're going to be in a new world now. We don't want people hiding an infectious disease, if something is as bad as some of these are, coming to work and then coughing and sneezing on people. Now we got a real problem because we can't get police out, and we can't get to do the water in the sewer. So I don't know. I'm supportive of moving forward with a Band-Aid. But at some point, rather than us trying to recreate the wheel, I think maybe we see what the best practices are out there, these kind of things, and then try to adopt the best ones we can.
Yeah, I truly agree with that. And over these past several years, I can't say enough about our employee workforce. I as I said before, I was the most hated man in the employee workforce because of, the mask and things like that. And our folks did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, we were hit with it, and it is what it is. And we got over that hump and we moved forward. So.
Yeah, it's going to be an evolving environment. I know a lot of places, I just read an article the other day, are doing away with things like perfect attendance awards and promotions and giving bonuses, because it just encourages people to hide when they're actually sick.
Correct.
And come in and spread it. And a lot of basically everybody on this call could really do their job with the town remotely anyway, if they have to. So I think things will continue to evolve, but we are going to have to kind of figure out how to handle administratively some of these things that are out of line with our current personnel policy while we're moving towards the future. Anybody else have any thoughts or on?
Ryan, it sucks we're here again, but I reviewed the policy. It's definitely in line with how we handle our full-time employees with the Horsemen's Association and through the employees we have with the bowling alley. So I'm definitely in support of this Band-Aid fix. And I guess we do need to review things moving forward, but I think this is a good common sense approach to move forward for our team. So I'm in support.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Well, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the personnel policy chapter 14-10-H, executive administrative infectious disease leave?
I'll make said motion.
Second, Councilman Pacelli. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Kelly or C, did we get anything from the community? Anything come in, email or otherwise? I don't know that we have anybody else on the line. It doesn't look like. No. Okay. Moving to reports. Councilman Cuneo.
Nothing to report for planning and zoning. We have not met in the last few months. I think we're meeting again next week. Starting again next week.
Okay. And that's a Zoom meeting as well?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Councilwoman Miller.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Councilman Pacelli.
You kind of made my report for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that last meeting, but I am impressed with the energy of this group moving forward. So I think we'll get some interesting things done.
Yeah. And if you go to ones, I'm certainly willing to go to some other ones too. So we can work together. If you can't make it, I'll try to scoot over there. It was a good meeting. I like some of the folks in there. Jeff's is pretty good too if you haven't been there. Councilwoman Howe.
I attended the Nature Center meeting last night, and we have two events coming up. We have a Valentine's Day craft event for the kids. It's Sunday, February the 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. and it's free. And then starting in February, they're going to have a second Sunday hike every month. And this one in February kicks it off on the same day as the Valentine's Day craft event, February 13th from 1 to 3. And that's all we've got planned right now.
Very good. And you're going to try to make it to that meeting. Steve, I think that meeting with the Rec Council was the 20th. I don't have a time on my calendar yet, but I'm going to try to make it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and let I'm sorry, Deb. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think everybody said they wanted to do it, excuse me, on the 20th on Thursday, but we don't have a time yet. So
yeah, that's what I have to.
Yes, I'll follow up on that tomorrow and then let you know. So
okay. That works. Councilman Richardson.
Yeah, shoot me the information on that meeting, Ryan. I'd love to be a part of that if I'm available as well next week.
Okay, just to make sure I don't miss you, Steve or Deb, can we just start looping David in on the emails? Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you. Not a ton to report. We have a Cable Regulatory Commission meeting on Thursday that I'll be a part of. Also, the General Assembly session starts actually tomorrow, so things will start to heat up with that. I've had numerous discussions and meeting with our delegation of Delegate Shoemaker, Delegate Rose and Senator Reedy as well. Not too much on the agenda, at least right now, for our municipality. I do have our team of legislative team just keeping an eye out for our municipality. So if there's anything that pops up, they'll definitely let me know, and I'll report back to the council. But hopefully more to report, or hopefully nothing to report, I should say, by next month. Because when there's something to report, it's normally bad. So yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
On the topic of the General Assembly session and MML, some of you may have seen Scott Hancock is going to be stepping down, who's been executive director of MML. It looks like towards the end of this year, so he'll be there through this session. It looks like they're going to have an executive search. So if anybody has anybody that in their network that may be good for that, that may be something to key them in on. I did notice too that this is one of those weird years, I guess, because it's an election year where the MML convention, and hopefully that's in person and things are fairly normal by June, but they move it a couple weeks and it goes over top of our council meeting. So last couple of years, I think it's just been Deb and I, at least for most of the time, but we have 2 new people or council members coming back. So if anybody is able to make it, to get that on your calendar now, it is that Sunday to Wednesday. I'll try to look it up, the actual date here. 19th to 22nd of June. No, I'm sorry, 12th to 15th, because it goes over the council meeting. So if we're going to have a few folks out for that, we may, again, this is, months from now, but it may make sense to go to the alternate night for that month of the 4th Wednesday instead of the 2nd Tuesday, so that people can participate in both of those meetings or events. That's all I have. Anyone heard anything or got any traction on the youth representative?
Yeah, we have somebody, Ryan. I hadn't had a chance to get him in front of the council here, but hopefully next month, if we're back together in person, we'll get him there. Sophomore from Mid Valley. So
okay, very good. Budget schedule is going to be coming out. Kelly, I know you sent that to me. I don't know if you released it. I was just going to give it once more, and we can talk about the times, what works best for everybody. So it is budget season. Chris, it'll be your first time going through that. Mm-hmm. David's been through it, but not in a couple of years. We made a few changes to how we do it, and we started to divide things up into, obviously we're doing these things. These are needs to have, right? We're not going to stop doing certain functions, and then we have things that are, let's say like next tier, like, hey, these would be, my priorities, and like it could be, almost anything. Things I'd like to try to find a way to fund if we can, and then things that would be, let's say, like the next level down, and maybe those we take a look at those in terms of grants and those kind of things. And then we work the same thing on the revenue side. We don't really know what we're going to see on the revenue side. Some of the big numbers come in late in terms of highway users, and on the expense side, things like insurance. So usually the first step in that is for everybody to start listing out their budget priorities. So everybody has an opportunity to speak up for something that they would like to advocate for in making the town better. But obviously things like generators, right? We're going to keep having backup generators in town. That's not really an option. So first work session on that is scheduled right now for Wednesday, January 26th. We'll do that one by Zoom. I expect it'll be pretty quick, and we'll get some information on, if you want to start putting things together before that time. That's all I have. Next council meeting, Tuesday, February 8th, 7:30. And anybody else have anything?
One quick question for the members who attended the December MML. I believe that Manchester is next to host. Was that shared at the December meeting for sure?
did they cover that bit? I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have a date lined up, and we have the building reserved. I just wanted to make sure that I had the right month. Typically, Hampstead, and I wanted to make sure that I hadn't changed that with all the COVID changes.
Right.
Okay.
So is it going to be St. Patty's Day?
Yes, it's for St. Patrick's Day. Yep.
Oh, so let me make sure that's my calendar.
Because when we
Thursday, March 17th, we're MML.
Yeah.
Yes, when we president, he wanted to do the third Thursday, which is what we typically do, but I know that some years it changes, but he recommended the third Thursday. So that's what we.
Okay. All right. Very good. So do we all come in costume?
Sure.
Indeed.
We're working on the menu. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet.
All right. Well, nothing else for this group. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion second. All's in favor, raise your hand. All right, guys, stay safe, stay in touch, and thanks for making the adaptation for this meeting. And
Good night, everyone.
talk to you soon. Good night.
All right, thanks, guys.
Recording stopped.